Hello and welcome to the SpiderNerd.com podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Weber, aka SpiderNerd, the webmaster of the site. And here joining me today for the panel is Mr. Thomas Patterson.
Hello.
How's it going, Thomas?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, you do anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, so I recently picked up my copy of Batman Arkham Origins, have been playing that, and I went to go see Thor the Dark World twice this weekend.
You went to see it twice?
Yeah, well, I didn't go to see it with my family the first time, and then my family dragged me along to go see it the second time.
Well, I was going to say, you must be a massive Thor fan to see it twice in one weekend.
I'm really not. I'm really not, but I've seen every, Marvel film since, the Avengers twice, at least twice. So,
I only saw Iron Man 3 once in the theater.
Oh, I saw it twice.
I only saw it once because the first time I was a little bit disappointed with it, but then I got the Blu-ray and my opinion completely changed. I love that movie now.
Oh, really? Because I really liked it in the theater.
See, I didn't like it in the theater that much, but when I got the Blu-ray, for some reason my opinion of it just spiked.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it the first time around, and I feel like it was better than Thor, personally, but, Thor was pretty good, too.
I haven't seen Thor yet. I don't really plan to go see it because I'm not the biggest Thor fan in the world.
Yeah, me neither.
Thor's just...
I was thinking about not going to see it, but see, I have to go see every Marvel movie now because they all take place in the same universe, and I feel like I'd be missing out.
I know. I'll probably rent it when it comes out on Blu-ray or something.
Yeah.
I'll probably rent it and see it that way. That's how I saw the first one.
Yeah, and then at least you'll be seeing it before Captain America comes out, so any references won't go right over your head.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for Captain America.
I know, that actually looks really, really good.
I haven't actually seen the trailer yet, but I'm really excited for Captain America.
Oh my gosh, that trailer is awesome.
I loved the first movie. Loved it to death.
I thought it was really good, actually. Definitely one of the better Phase 1 movies. Iron Man was the best, I think.
Definitely. Well, if you're not counting the Avengers.
Well, I'm not counting the Avengers.
Yeah, Phase 1 pre-Avengers, Iron Man was the best.
Exactly. Yep.
The Avengers was the best, obviously.
Yes, it was. Definitely. Best superhero film ever.
Yeah, the Avengers kicked a lot of ass.
Yep.
Yeah, so, what have I been up to this week? Well, I've been reading the Clone Saga a bit. I've been reading the 90s Clone Saga, and you will not believe, I actually found have you ever heard of the trades, the Complete Clone Saga Epic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found one of those for $10, and I was like, oh yes!
Only $10?
$10. It was used, but, I mean, it was in good condition, too.
Wow, that's pretty solid. I don't know if the stories are actually worth $10 altogether. No, I'm just joking.
JMD Mateus just died a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, but I've been reading it. You know what? To be quite honest, I'm actually kind of enjoying it.
Really?
I'm actually surprised by how much I'm enjoying the Clone Saga.
Huh. The only Clone Saga I've been able to stand is the Ultimate version of it.
I actually quite like the 70s Clone Saga written by Gary Conway.
I haven't read that one.
It takes place from, I want to say Amazing 144 to 150. Don't hold me to those issue numbers, but I want to say it takes place in that realm.
All right, I'll have to check it out. Sounds interesting. I didn't even know there was another Clone Saga because everyone's always complaining about the 90s one.
Yeah, there's the original Clone Saga from the 70s. Go on eBay, look up Spider-Man the Original Clone Saga. That's actually the title of the trade.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll do it after this podcast.
Yeah, go on there and maybe I'll be able to find it while you're talking or something, and I'll give you a link to it.
Okay. All right.
But the only other thing that's really happened to me this week is it bad that I'm just now realizing how gorgeous Emma Stone is?
You may have been blind before, but now you've seen the light.
Like, holy shit!
Yep. Well, I saw an Easy A before I watched The Amazing Spider-Man, so.
See, her birthday was on Wednesday, and I put a little post on the website that it was her and Sally Field's birthdays on Wednesday. So I put a little post on the site, wishing them a happy birthday, and I found this picture of Emma Stone. Let me link you to it.
Okay.
It's insane how gorgeous she is. Let me link.
Okay.
It's insane.
Really?
She's amazing.
Hold on, I'll see it. Let me see it. Hold on. Yep, I can see that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry for any listeners who think I'm like an obsessive, crushing fanboy right now, but gosh damn, Emma Stone is gorgeous. I'm just now realizing this.
Yep.
Like I said to a few of my friends, I was like, is it bad that I'm just now realizing not who Emma Stone is, but how gorgeous Emma Stone is? And they're like, shame on you. Have you no eyes, sir?
Yeah, I'm a little bit calmer with that, but if my brother was in here right now, he'd be kicking your butt. Like verbally right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of blowing it up. I mean, Emma Stone is gorgeous, obviously, so I just wanted to point that out because I thought it'd be funny.
Yep.
All right. So, topic of today's podcast. Today we're going to be covering the basic stuff we always do in the podcast, the most recent issue of the Superior Spider-Man and news. So, today we're going to be talking about the Superior Spider-Man number 20. And basic plot synopsis, Spock has a run-in with the Black Cat, and during that fight, he manages to knock a tooth out of her mouth. He leaves her webbed up for the authorities, and so she swears revenge on him. He proposes to Anne Maria that they become business partners in Peter Puss's new business, Parker Industries, which he plans to start up after he presents his doctoral thesis. Meanwhile, Carly Cooper is still on her Dr. Octopus is really Spider-Man case. MJ is getting a new boyfriend, a.k.a. the firefighter who rescued her in issue number 10. And Peter Puss presents his doctoral thesis and gets shot down because Dr. Lamaze recognizes it as the work of the late Otto Octavius. And so Peter Puss is completely shot down. Meanwhile, Stunner has made a return and sworn revenge on the Superior Spider-Man. That is probably the quickest issue recap I've ever done on this podcast. All 8 episodes of it. But that's the basic gist of the issue. It wasn't a very action-packed issue, but a lot did actually happen in it. So, Thomas, we're going to start with you. What's your initial grade on this issue?
I'm gonna have to go with the solid B on it. I felt like it was a little, like, after reading Superior Spider-Man 19, I felt like this one was a little underwhelming in comparison, whereas 19 had all this stuff going on. 20 didn't really have that much, and I felt like they were basically hyping up the encounter between Black Cat and Superior Spider-Man because now Otto Octavius is Spider-Man, but all it was a 2-page encounter, and he basically beat the crap out of her, and it ended with her just saying that she'll swear her revenge, which is interesting, I suppose. And everything else, a lot did happen in terms of like the furthering of what Spock is going through. Like Carly knows who he is, and so she's doing all that stuff. She promises to turn it into the Avengers instead of the police. So I'd be interested to see how that goes, but I'm a little skeptical on what will happen. And I just felt like the story was a little underwhelming this time. The art was solid. I don't like it as much as Stagman's, but I don't know how to say his name. Capucoli. Yeah, he does a pretty good job on the art, and so I don't really have any complaints like I normally would have under Humberto Ramos.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, Ramos.
hmm But yeah, I say it's a solid B. It's a pretty good issue, I guess.
I'm going to give this issue a solid A. I actually really enjoyed it, even more than I enjoyed number 19. And for anyone who reads my reviews on the actual website itself, you'll know that I gave issue 19 an A minus. I have to give this one a solid A. I really, really liked it. You know, it was kind of like, I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. I wouldn't say a day in the life issue for Peter Puss, but it was just after the gripping, action-packed last issue, it was kind of a break from that and a little bit more toned down, a little bit more laid back, but it still had a lot of stuff going on in it that I really, really enjoyed. So I'm going to give the issue a solid A. So, really, I mean, obviously we'll get to grades again once we're done with it. We'll see if the discussion changes our grades any. But let's get into some talking points here. First of all, Kevin Coley's art. I mean, you mentioned it in your little rundown of your review. I love Kevin Coley's art. He's easily my favorite artist on Superior right now.
Yeah, I just appreciate Stagman's art more. I wish the inking was done better on some of his issues, but Kevin Coley. I enjoy his art. It's definitely better than Ramos by a long shot, but I wouldn't say it's on to Stagman's for me.
Personally, I prefer Kevin Coley to Stegman. I don't know what it is, but everyone just seems more, I don't know, they seem
Vibrant?
more vibrant. Yes, thank you. Vibrant is the word I would use to describe them. They all seem more vibrant. They seem a little bit more human-esque. I don't know if that's a word, but they seem a lot more human-esque in Kevin Coley's drawings. I don't know. You know, that's nothing against Stegman or anything. That's nothing against his art, but I just feel like Kevin Coley's art seems like the most realistic, yet at the same time, it also has that cartoonish feel to it that really does, sell the fact that yes, this is a sci-fi fantasy book, but, it still has a realistic feel to it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like his designs are a little bit more lively, kind of fill the characters with personality. But I don't know. I just prefer Stagman's style to Kevin Coley's. Not to say anything bad about him because I appreciate both their art styles and they work well for me. Both of them do. So I'm good.
Yes, and so, I really, really enjoy Kevin Coley's art. It's nothing against Stegman or Ramos, really, even though I don't really like Ramos as an artist, but... What was that?
I was just laughing.
Oh, I was like, okay. But, yeah, so Kevin Coley's easily my favorite artist on Spider-Man right now. And I think the combination of him and Antonio Fabella on colors is a really good combination.
I would say that the issue was very well, worked very well in the art department in general.
Definitely. Especially the flashback sequence at the beginning, which I didn't mention in my synopsis, but there is a flashback at the beginning of the issue to The Amazing Spider-Man number 700, and he draws it shot for shot, this scene in Columbus Circle. Kevin Coley draws it shot for shot what Ramos drew in Amazing 700, and I have to say it looks better here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does, but by a long shot. Even though I would argue that Ramos on number 700 was the only issue I could actually really enjoy his art. But yeah, I definitely agree that he did it much better.
Yeah, I really liked that 2-page spread of the ending scene of Amazing 700. I really, really liked that. Which leads me to another talking point. Thomas, this sort of set up in my mind the idea that Peter Parker could be coming back. What do you think of that?
Well, in the last issue, you saw kind of his silhouette lifting up some stuff that the rubble that he was buried under before when Doc Ock exorcised him. And I was thinking throughout the whole issue that if we were going to get any you know, relation to that, because we saw that, and I waited the whole issue without ever getting that. So I felt a little underwhelmed because of that too, because there was no real follow up. But they'll probably be in later issues. I was just a little disappointed that there was no follow up to that.
But to that, I give you right after the end of that flashback sequence. Well, the Columbus Circle part of the flashback sequence, I should say. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words today. But you see a heart monitor that immediately goes blank, but then it starts up again. Is that a hint, maybe?
No, I don't really think so. I think that, if anything, it'll probably be the same Peter Parker that was in the Mindscape, and I think that Ock was only saying that it was just like a remnant of Peter still there. I think it was actually Peter managing to actually, when he put his emotions into him, to manage to somehow transport in some way himself into his mind again.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, I just completely blanked for a second. But, so, yeah, you may not think that, but I personally think it could be a hint to Peter Parker's return. I mean, well, it can't be just coincidence that they show the flashback to the Amazing Spider-Man number 700 and then show a heart monitor starting to beep again. There's no way that can actually, that would be like that. So,
isn't it Madam Web that said that all the spiders will die at the beginning of the issue? The new Madam Web, right?
I don't actually know who that is, so I was just going to leave that alone because I don't know who that is. I even said in my written review on the website, I have no idea who that is, so I'm leaving it alone. So, so I don't know. I was hoping you were not going to bring that up, but oh well. I was kind of hoping to avoid that, but whatever. Yeah, do you have any idea who that is besides Madam Web? It might be Madam Web, but I don't know who it is.
I don't know who else besides that, but I thought she went into a coma or something. So when they said that she called in her own coma, I was thinking that was that person.
Yeah, but that was kind of confusing for me, and I've read this issue twice, and I still don't understand it. So, a
lot of people were speculating that Madam Web is actually now hosting Peter's Mind as well. And I thought that was a little odd, but whatever.
That would actually be kind of cool. I haven't heard that. Where'd you hear that from?
I frequent the comic book resources forums.
Oh, CBR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go on there very much. I go on there every now and again, but my main forum is the Spider-Man Crawlspace message board. But
yeah. So I was they have all those theories going on, and some of them are pretty interesting. So, like, some of them said that Peter's in Norman Osborn's body and all this other stuff.
Speaking of the crawl space, how many times have we plugged that site on this podcast?
I don't know.
Probably way too many. You're welcome, Brad Douglas. That was a joke, by the way, but you really are welcome.
We've been giving you a whole bunch of
plugs.
Shout-outs there. Look at us go.
Whatever. So yeah, Superior number 20, the artwork is amazing. We don't know if Peter Parker's coming back. And so, next talking point, if my website will load, oh my gosh, will you please load website, is the Black Cat scene. What do we think of the Black Cat scene?
I felt like it was a little short because they kind of hyped it up a lot. Doc Ock finally meeting Black Cat after he tried to kill her before, and now he's in Spider-Man's body. I felt like it was a little hyped up, and I thought that was the whole point of the issue. And it just kind of, it didn't fill up as much space as I thought it would have.
I'll admit, when I first read this issue, I was a bit disappointed with the Black Cat scene because, like you said, it was very, very short. And, I mean, she was on the freaking cover, for gosh sake. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and they were hyping up, oh my gosh, Black Cat's returning, this is going to be huge. And it's 4 pages at max. And
I also think there's a reason for that. I don't think Dan Slott likes her very much because originally she was the one who was supposed to die in Ends of the Earth, but he killed Silver Sable in the end instead. So I don't really feel like he has too much of a connection with her, so he didn't, keep her in there longer.
Well, on the topic of that, I personally don't think that just because he wanted to kill her in Ends of the Earth doesn't mean that he doesn't like her. Really, I'm not Dan Slott, so I can't speak for him, but I don't think it necessarily means that, but, whatever.
I don't know, I heard from some people that he didn't really like her or whatever.
Yeah, well, who knows? But, on the second read, I kind of appreciate this Black Cat scene a little bit more. I do feel like it is setting up an interesting story with the Black Cat wanting revenge on Spock, or whatever you want to call him, the superior Spider-Man, Peter Puss, Spock, whatever you want to call him.
Well, I thought that was interesting because I felt like they're setting this up in a interesting way because Spock's actually in control of Peter's body right now, and I feel like eventually Peter will get control of his own body back. But I feel like it'll be an interesting story in having to try to explain it to Black Cat that it was actually Ock or what's going to happen there. So I think all these things are just going to kind of develop into Peter having his life just like torn apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole basic premise of this story is Peter's life being torn apart.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, so the Black Cat scene, it was all right. Nothing special, but it was fine. What do we think of the Carly Cooper plot?
I felt like I was reading it and I was thinking to myself, it's about time. The whole way through. Because, honestly, she's been moving really slow through, like, this whole process and figuring out, about Peter and everything. And I felt like she had the best lead out of everyone. And she's been keeping it quiet and nobody really knows what's been going on. And she's, sitting on it for a while. So I was thinking it's about time that she finally, acted on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I really like the Carly Cooper scene in this issue just for the fact that she finally told Mary Jane to stay away from Peter Puss.
I know, because poor Mary Jane, she's been getting her heart broken and all this other stuff. And it's good to see her move on from, Ock, but it's going to be a little bit upsetting when Peter returns and MJ's, done with him. Although I think that she'll probably be told.
Yeah, definitely. She'll definitely probably by the second issue, by Peter's second issue back, he'll be back with MJ, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, but the Carly Cooper scene I was very much enjoying, and that's a nice segue into the Mary Jane scene. Her trying to get in with this Pedro guy, I think his name is, the firefighter who rescued her in the Superior Spider-Man number 10. I felt that was a bit random.
Yeah, me too. I didn't feel like it came out of anywhere. It was just kind of there.
Well, I mean, like, I kind of see where it was set up in issue 10. I haven't gone back and read issue 10 since I read this issue, but I do remember a heck of a lot about that issue. And I do remember, him saving her and all that and all that other stuff. So I feel like maybe it could have been set up, but, it just felt kind of random for me.
Yeah, I agree. It felt a little out of nowhere for me, but I guess it works because all I feel like it's doing is basically MJ trying to find her own way without Peter now because, it's the guy that she loved and now he's treating her like crap. So I guess that's what any logical person would do.
Yeah, tell me about it. But I really like that MJ is really being portrayed here as a strong, independent woman. She's not, bound by one particular guy. She's not, he doesn't define her. She defines herself. And so that's why she's not going to put up with this bullshit that Peter Puss is putting her through. And instead she's moving on to someone else. So I liked that.
Exactly.
I like that quite a bit. The final point about this issue before we wrap this up. will be Peter Puss presenting his doctoral thesis about controlling external limbs internally and all that stuff. So what did we think of him plagiarizing his own work?
I feel like it is the ultimate irony. It's really funny because Ock didn't even realize that was happening, and he's like, "Oh wait, now I'm emulating my own work." And I feel like it's kind of funny because Ock, his body's dead, and so now he can't use his own work that he came up with himself. He didn't plagiarize it, and now he's getting in trouble for using his own work. So I felt like that was kind of funny. I also thought it was interesting how he promised to end him. Obviously, Spock is no stranger to killing people, but I'd be interested to see how that plays out if he actually goes through with killing his doctor or doing something bad to him.
He probably won't kill him. He'll probably do it. Like, I'm serious. He's probably going to kill him because because Massacre, shot in the face, point blank range. Smythe, stabbed through the heart, point blank range. It would be no surprise if he really killed Dr. Lamaze.
But I felt like he was at least justified. Like, you could understand why he killed those other people because, even though it was a little hypocritical for him to do it, I feel like a lot of people were kind of like, well, he should have done it a long time ago. Spider-Man should have done it a long time ago, and so. There's that.
Yeah, but, he didn't really feel any remorse about killing those two guys. I mean, Peter Parker would have at least felt something. He would have felt guilt. Heck, in The Amazing Spider-Man number 700, he even says to Ock, after this, I can never be Spider-Man again because I'll have killed you.
Uh-huh.
And he says, I'll have to, find out a way to learn or to live with that. So obviously Peter would have showed some remorse, whereas Ock showed absolutely no remorse to killing Massacre or Smythe.
Yeah, and I also believe that also comes, out of everything else, that's kind of a character for Ock, because Ock has been killing people for years and years, and he had no remorse about killing 7 billion people on the planet. So, there's that. So I felt like it was a little in character for him to act out that way.
I know, and I'm not really arguing that. I'm more arguing, the differences between Peter and Doc Ock. So
exactly, and I feel like that's just trying to highlight why Peter is actually the real superior Spider-Man, because he would have felt remorse. He would have been, the ultimate good guy. He would have done something. He would have done the right thing in those situations, and Ock doesn't. Yeah,
definitely. I definitely agree with you there. But in terms of my opinion on this plagiarism thing, I actually think that it is the ultimate downfall of Peter Puss, and let me tell you why. Because since I don't remember exactly what issue Dr. Lamaze was introduced in, I think it was either 4 or 5. I know he decided to go back to grad school in issue 4, but I don't remember. I think it was number 5, but I can't be certain where he was introduced. But all this time, he's been, saying, "Oh, the schnoz is an idiot. He's nothing. I could wipe the floor with him." Now he's the one who's putting an end to Peter Puss's dreams. I feel like that is the ultimate downfall of Peter Puss. He underestimated the schnoz.
Yep.
I felt that was brilliant, because when I first read the issue, I was like, oh yes, this is awesome. But then I reread it a second time, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is even more awesome than it originally was. And this is why.
Because he was insulting him all the time. He was basically saying that he was beneath him, and now he was his intellectual superior, and he was the guy who was teaching him.
Exactly. So now it's a complete flip. The schnoz is actually the one who puts a grinding halt to all of Peter Puss's ambitions and goals, and I feel like that's really cool.
Yep. Again, with the irony.
Yep, definitely. It's definitely a case of irony, and it's definitely a case of underestimation.
Exactly.
So, with that, we're pretty much done with all of the talking points for Superior number 20. So, Thomas, final grade on this issue. Are you changing your grade or not?
You convinced me to bring it up to a B plus, but I don't think I'll go any higher than that.
All right, I'm going to maintain my solid A. I really like this issue. So, with that, we are going to move off of the Superior Spider-Man number 20 and move on to some news topics. And our first news topic is that the Times of India have released 3 new images from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. One features Peter and Gwen kind of getting close together on a porch. One features Electro with his mouth wide open and his body all electrified. And the one that everyone's talking about is Spider-Man in a fireman's hat with a fire hose. So, Thomas, we'll start with you. What do we think of these pictures?
Well, I'm going to start with the first one you mentioned, Peter and Gwen. I feel like we've been hearing a lot about this date night thing in Chinatown, and in this picture, it doesn't look like they're getting too cuddly. It looks like they're having a fight, and I think it's more about spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Amazing Spider-Man, but George Stacy's death and his promise that he made to George Stacy, and how she wants to be close to him, but he can't do that.
See, I don't really take that as a fight picture. I mean, to me, it does kind of look like they are getting a little bit intimate with each other because she got her hands on his chest. You know, if you look at her face, they're looking into each other's eyes. You know, I don't really think this is a fight picture per se. More of a basic conversation picture. I don't know.
Well, see, this actually reminds me a lot of I watched the leaked footage from Comic-Con of the Amazing Spider-Man trailer, and in that trailer it shows a scene a lot like this one, and she says to him that she knows he's Spider-Man and that she loves that, but she loves Peter Parker more. So it seems to me using that knowledge about that to be a scene where he's basically saying he has to be Spider-Man, and that he made a promise that as long as he's Spider-Man, he can't be with her.
I definitely see where you're coming with that, because if you look at that trailer and you look at this picture, Gwen is dressed in the exact same way. I'm at least I think, because I did just watch the trailer before this podcast, the leaked Comic-Con trailer, and she seems to be dressed very similarly to how she is in this picture. So maybe that's a picture from that scene.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was thinking too when I looked at it. So that's kind of where I informed my opinion on that picture from.
You know, she says, "You're Spider-Man, and I love that, but I love Peter Parker more," which I think is a good line, personally. I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other picture that everyone's really talking about is Spider-Man in a fireman's hat with a fire hose. I'm going to start with my thoughts on this pic. I originally was like, oh my gosh, what the hell are they doing? Because, I mean, in the back of my mind throughout this whole production process of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's just been in the back of my mind that Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman are writing this movie. And because of their lack of success with Transformers and everything, I've been very skeptical towards this. But someone actually raised a theory. I don't remember where I read this. I want to say it was CBR. But I'm not quite certain. But someone actually raised a theory. Is this possibly how Spider-Man defeats Electro?
I was thinking of that too, because he's vulnerable to water, and we've seen that Ultimate Spider-Man game, insider information, guys. But yeah, they have that scene in there where they use fire hydrants and stuff to knock out his power. So I was thinking, yes, that could be a scene there, and I definitely felt like it was in keeping with Spider-Man's natural jokester attitude. I feel like this would kind of be a scene where he picked up a fireman's hat that maybe Electro killed, and he'd be like, "This one's for," kind of like Avengers moment where Iron Man was like, "This one's for Phil," or whatever he says when he shoots um, Loki. And so I was feeling like that might be a payoff scene to what happened.
And there's one other person you pissed off. His
Yeah,
name is
exactly.
Phil.
Exactly. Yep.
I love that scene.
Yep. And so I was thinking that'd kind of be like one of those scenes. And to bring up a fair point about Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, they also wrote the 2 Star Trek reboot films.
Which I still haven't seen.
Oh, well, they're pretty solid films, and I felt like the Transformers films weren't incredibly terrible, except for the fact that if the director wants to put in a bunch of action scenes, there's nothing the script can do to stop him from doing that. And so I feel like more than anything else, Michael Bay ruined the films rather than the script writers.
I don't know. The script was pretty bad too.
Well, there were a few lines of dialogue that I felt worked in the context of the film, but I feel like it was also kind of the direction that Michael Bay decided to take with the first films. And the third one, they weren't involved in. The first one they were involved in, which everyone says is the best one. And then the second one they were also involved in, which everyone says is the worst. So I guess it could go either way. But I'm hopeful because I feel like their dialogue and the way that they handled Star Trek in particular with very, not self-conscious in a way. It's still serious in a way, but they also handle the humor in a good way that is in fitting with Spider-Man.
Yes. So with that, the other picture is just Electro with his mouth open and everything. I don't think there's really much to talk about with this one.
I feel like this is the scene in Times Square that they were talking about when he first discovers his powers, and it's just him basically getting PO'd at everyone and starting like firing at stuff and everything. And this would probably be the scene where Spider-Man actually ends up turning on Electro to make Max Dillon hate him in the end.
Probably. That's probably a good prediction. But that's basically it for the picks, and the only other news topic we have is that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer has been officially given a release date.
Yep.
It will be attached to Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug. I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know.
Yep,
yeah,
Smaug.
Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, or Hobbit 2, whatever you want to call it. And this is confirmed by Mark Webb. He tweeted an image in a cryptic language. I don't know what language it is.
Elvish.
Okay, whatever. But it's translated into English. It says, "Watch the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer in front of Hobbit in 3D." So basically, we're getting a trailer next month.
Yep.
So I'll start with my thoughts on this. I'm really excited for the trailer. I saw the leaked one from Comic-Con, and I really liked it. I'm hoping for some new footage in this trailer, or if it's the same trailer finished and in higher quality, I will be, ecstatic about it. But if they give us some new footage in this trailer, I'll be pretty pleased. But you know what? I've been waiting for a TASM 2 trailer for so long that I'll be pleased with pretty much anything. So, Thomas, are you excited for the trailer?
I am very excited for the trailer. I've been waiting months for this trailer. I thought it was coming with Thor: The Dark World because the people that did the music for it were saying it was coming with that, and they lied to me. And I also think it's quite odd that it's coming out so late. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for a trailer, but they came out with Captain America trailer, which admittedly, comes out a month before Spider-Man, but they also came out with an X-Men Days of Future Past trailer, which comes out at the end of the month. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes out. So I feel like this is a little late in comparison. And I remember the Amazing Spider-Man, they had a trailer a whole year before the first one came out. So I don't know. It feels a little odd that it's taking so long, but hopefully we'll get some really good high-quality footage with it. And I think that's also a plus for that. I definitely think it'll be new footage because now the first trailer was the trailer that they showed at Comic-Con was very story driven. They didn't have a whole lot of footage yet. And I feel like in the 5 months, they've probably completed enough to put enough action stuff into it. And yeah, I think it'll be very awesome and hopefully worth the wait.
I'm definitely with you on that. I think that the reason that this trailer is taking so long is because they do have a lot of effects to work in with this one, with Electro and the Rhino and all that. So, I mean, not that the first movie didn't have effects too, because the Lizard was a complete CGI character, but, well, not a complete CGI character, motion capture and all that bullshit, but,
I feel like this one's going to be a little bit more visually interesting now that they can focus more on Peter as Spider-Man than before.
Exactly, and this one's gonna have Electro and the Rhino and possibly even the Green Goblin that is rumored to appear in this film. So
at the end, yeah.
So we'll see what goes on there. But I think a lot of the reason this trailer is taking so long is because of the visual effects and everything. So, but personally, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good trailer, and I'm just excited to see what they have in store for us.
Yep, I'm definitely excited, and I definitely think that with the way that they've been taking a while on the visual effects, that we'll definitely get some good high-quality footage in there, so it should be good.
All right, so that's all of the news topics for today, and so that's going to conclude this episode of the SpiderNerd.com podcast. So, Thomas, any final words for the listeners before we sign off?
No, but get ready to watch the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer because hopefully it'll come out soon.
I think December 11th is when the movie comes out.
December 13th is when the movie comes out, so I think the week of it'll come out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the Captain America trailer came out 2 weeks before Thor: The Dark World came out, so we'll see. Is
the Captain America trailer attached to Thor?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Thor, so... I wouldn't know. But
yet again, the UK version of the Thor: The Dark World came out the following Wednesday.
Yeah.
Darn it! I ruined my own theory.
Okay.
Sucks.
Okay, so so my final words for the listeners are keep reading Spider-Man books. And keep coming and visiting the site. We really enjoy having you here. And hopefully we'll be able to get some more panelists for next week's show.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm hoping Jacob can join us for next week's show. And I just want to give a huge shout-out to our new Ultimate Spider-Man reviewer. His name is Ethan Smith. He has come to us generously and has agreed to review the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon for us. As you know, I resigned from reviewing that show because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Despise that show.
That show sucks so much.
Every episode is like going to hell and coming back.
Well, I wouldn't say that. But geez. But we had a reviewer. His name is Sonic. He resigned also as well. So unfortunately, I want to say goodbye to him and his reviews. He only did 2, but the ones he did were very much appreciated. And so we finally got a new Ultimate Spider-Man reviewer. His name is Ethan, so I hope you all welcome him. Also, Jacob Blowbaum, our other podcast panelist, who was unfortunately not able to be with us today, because I couldn't reach him. But he has started reviewing Ultimate Comics Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man Team Up for the site. So I want to thank him very much for that. That takes more reviews off my back. So, so I just want to give a shout-out to those two guys. They're pretty awesome. And, of course, I want to give a shout-out to Thomas for being here every week with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be able to be here for hundreds and hundreds of more episodes.
Whoa, okay. Well, let's not get too much into commitment. I kind of shrink away from that kind of thing.
I was kidding.
I know. I was kidding back. Come on. I wasn't... Oh.
Okay, we just killed that joke completely.
Yeah, you did. Thanks.
Sorry. I have a tendency to do that. But
Yes, you do.
wow. Okay. Okay. Well, before we sign off, we will just say adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, and have a good week. We will see you next week.
Exactly what he said.
All right. Bye.